Ahmad Rashad out at the Coliseum in just a moment. The halftime score. The Raiders in front 20-17, a game that seesawed. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Steve Grogan along the sideline for the Patriots after those leg injuries sustained against the Jets several weeks ago. He's been reactivated, but for now, the team is in the hands of Tony Eason. And we'll see Eason go to the air for the first touchdown. This followed a fumbled punt by Fulton Walker of the Raiders that gave the Patriots possession. 13 yards on the catch by Lynn Dawson in the end zone. After a Chris Barr field goal moved the Raiders to within 7-3, Mark Wilson, who did not play well during the first half, nonetheless gets this 16-yard completion to the rookie Jesse Hester. The Raiders have the lead at 10-7. Howie Long recovered a Mosi Tatupu fumble. The Raiders took over again, and there goes Marcus doing what he does so well. Airborne for the 12-yard touchdown. They lead by 10 at 17-7. However, the Raiders see their lead cut to 3 on the Craig James touchdown that completes an 80-yard drive for the Patriots. That brought them to within 17-14. A Tony Franklin field goal, a 45-yarder, tied it up at 17, and then just before the gun, Chris Barr hits a 32-yarder for the Raiders. They have the lead at 20-17, but some interesting aspects of that first. Wait a minute. While I'm doing this, you've gone to wardrobe for a change of costume. I can only assume that the irate phone calls of Giant fans, and they have gathered in the street outside Rockefeller Plaza, I understand, they have driven you to an incognito position.
Bob, I don't know who they're looking for. Did someone pick the Giants to be shut out today? Am I supposed to change the score for them? What do you want, Giant fans? Let me make a few things clear. I like the Giants. George Young is a terrific executive. Phil Simms, a quarterback, a prince of a guy. Even though I even like Giant fans, I just think that their sharp objects should be removed and they should be given crayons, as we emphasize.
Let's turn this down. All right, now let's talk about the Patriots and the Raiders. Now, although the Raiders do hold the lead, they were guilty of 3 turnovers. Ronnie Lepet, as he now prefers to be called, going the Tony Dorsett route with the mid-career change of name with a couple of interceptions. The Raiders were -8 for the year on the giveaway-takeaway table, one of the worst figures in the league, and they gave it up 3 times. For that matter, New England lost it once and also had a punt block.
Of course, the Raiders break all the rules. We know they get more penalties, they get turnovers. They don't care. They say, we'll do it our way. We will seize the victory. While I'm on the subject of people I don't like, forget about you Giant fans. Jerry Markwright, what was your crew looking at when Brian Holloway pulled Howie Long offside? Of course, the Raiders a possible touchdown.
Yeah, that was the 3rd down situation at the 9-yard line before the Craig James touchdown, and they might have had to settle for the field goal. It looked as if Holloway had drawn Long offside. Instead, the call went against the Raiders, and the drive was sustained, and James was able to score from the 2. Rushing statistics.
Since you removed these glasses, my vision is approximately Jerry Markwright.
That's Pete Axthome's comments. Craig James with 53 first-half yards unofficially. Marcus Allen, 10 carries during the first half for 82 yards for the Raiders, and they lead it 20-17. Let's go out there now and join Ahmad Rashad. He's standing by at the Coliseum. Ahmad?
Bob, how you doing? First of all, let me congratulate Axe on his pick. I knew he never liked the Giants anyway, and Jerry Markwright says hello. Talking about this game, going into this game early, I talked to some of the Raider coaches, and what they wanted to do was pick on Ronnie Lepet. They didn't want to mess with Raymond Claiborne because he's a Pro Bowl cornerback. Let's take a look at an early play. Now, when you try to pick on a cornerback, Lepet knows that this is where they're going to come because they all pro guys on the other side. He's aware of this play, and he makes a great play, a heads-up play here, comes up with a big interception. But I don't think that they're going to stay away from him. They'll still try to work on Ryan Lepet and stay away from Claiborne. But what that does for Claiborne, sometimes he tends to relax, thinking that they're going to go to the other side. Right here, you see Jesse Hester taking Claiborne for an easy out ball on a touchdown. I think it's just because all of a sudden Claiborne relaxed and they went on ahead and got this touchdown here. But you know what the Raiders have a chance to do is that every time they play a team, they break up their game plan by challenging each player man-to-man. They want to break it down to a man-to-man confrontation, and that's the way they dominate. We're going to take a look at a play by Marcus Allen early in the first half where he takes a run. Let's roll that play. Now you see Marcus Allen, he's coming to his right side. He sees the goal line. He breaks up the middle, and this is the kind of play that fires up the entire Raider offense, the Raider team for that matter. He dives into the goal line. But the thing about the Patriots, I talked about the Patriots earlier, they didn't quit. They came right back. They got a 2-yard touchdown. They got a field goal. They tied the game up 17-7. The Raiders came back, kicked a field goal. They lead it at halftime 20-17. We've got a whale of a ball game here because the Patriots are not going to give up, and neither are the Raiders.
Ahmad, talking about challenging people one-on-one, Hayes and Mike Haynes shutting Morgan and Fryer down in the first half.
You know, the key to that whole thing, Bobby, they've shut him down because Howie Long and company have put pressure on Eason. He hasn't had a chance to throw the long ball, and they're going to have to continue that during the second half, or else these guys are going to break. They're like a time bomb, both these wide receivers, Morgan and Fryer, because if you ever give Eason time enough to throw, he'll find these guys deep for a big score.
Okay, Ahmad, we'll check with you later after the ball game is over. 20-17 in favor of the Raiders at halftime. Now in the game that Axe is gloating about, the Bears advance to the NFC title game, which will be next week at Soldier Field against the Los Angeles Rams with a 21-0 win over the Giants. Third shutout of the year for the Bears. Even more impressively, it's the 12th time that they have held an opponent to 10 points or fewer this year. The Bears had 6 sacks. Richard Dent played a terrific game. The Giants were unable to sack Jim McMahon. Joe Morris, who started strongly on the first drive, held to 32 yards rushing on 12 carries. He was not a factor after the second quarter. A couple of injuries. He took a hit on the head and also injured his shoulder. Walter Payton carried 27 times for 93 yards on the frigid day at Soldier Field. It was an appropriate surrounding for the matchup between these two clubs, meeting in the playoffs for the first time since 1963. Also an icy day on that occasion when Y.A. Tittle and the Giants lost to the Bears 14-10 in the NFL title game. So Dennis McKinnon caught a couple of passes, by the way, for touchdowns in the second half from Jim McMahon. It was 7-0 in favor of the Bears at the half. They go on to win it 21-0 and eliminate the Giants from the playoffs. After the game, Bill McAtee was at Soldier Field in Chicago. He talked with the superb linebacker of the Bears, Mike Singletary.
All right, thank you very much, Bob Costas. We're here with the NFC Defensive Player of the Year, Mike Singletary, the linebacker for the Chicago Bears. Congratulations, first of all, on today's victory.
Well, thanks a lot.
Did you give the Giants a different look defensively early on?
Not really. We tried to mix it up just a little bit, but I don't think we showed them anything really different.
Considering the weather, did you feel secure that the Giants would be unable to really pass successfully? And as it turned out, of course, they were unable to do that.
Well, really, the biggest thing today was pressure, and I think the way our guys came off the ball up front, Richard Dent, when we were blitzing the linebackers, Otis Wilson and Wilbur Marshall, and Hampton and Steve, I mean, they all did a great job.
Was there a little bit of anxiousness because of the 2-week layoff?
I tell you, I don't ever want to wait 2 weeks to play again, but if it means the home field advantage, then you got to do it.
Michael, did you have a chance to watch the Cowboys and the Rams yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I looked at it, and it was an interesting game.
How do you match up against the Rams?
Well, I tell you, it's going to be tough, but I think it's going to be a great matchup, and I think it's going to be a physical game, and we're going to have to get a
priority. Will be Dickerson.
That's right. Definitely the priority is going to be Dickerson.
Were you able to see anything that will help you against the Rams and against Dickerson?
Well, not really. The biggest advantage that we have, we played him before, and he's a great running back, and they've got great guys up front blocking for him, and we're just going to have to get out there and take the challenge.
Mike Singletary, thank you very much for coming out with us.
All right.
Okay, let's send you back to New York. Bob?
Bill, if Mike Singletary thinks about it, he hopes he has to wait 2 weeks to play again at least one more time because that's the layoff between the conference championship games and the Super Bowl. Let's go to NBC News now.
Has not been as much of a factor in the first part of this game as he has been in most games and as he was in the last game these two teams played.
Tony Eason, no mistakes, no interceptions, so you give him a B-. And Mark Wilson, as is the case with the Coliseum faithful, he's below average.
Well, let me tell you why I gave him the C-. It's those 2 interceptions. I mean, neither of these quarterbacks has thrown for much of an average or for great yardage, but Eason has not thrown the interception, and Wilson has thrown 2 interceptions, and I got to grade him down for that.
Let's see, what'd you give our producer and director? No, we won't get into that.
And what are we going to get out of this?
We'll leave them alone. Marcus Allen is on course for 160-plus yards rushing again, and he indeed, even though he's the marked man, New England has not been able to really stop him.
One of the reasons you can't stop, even though he is the marked man, and you know you've got to put your emphasis on him, the Raiders have so many other weapons, and they have such good balance, and that's a key word, balance, because it makes so much difference, in particular in the playoffs, that you can't just focus all your energy on that one man.
The Raiders will get the ball first to open this second half. So Alice, a spectator for one play. There are the first half statistics. Total yards, the Raiders, after starting slowly, outgaining New England. Yards rushing about the same, and yards passing, both teams well under 100. Frank Franklin's kick sailing down to Walker at the 4. He fumbled twice in the first half. One recovered by New England, and he is hit hard at the 20, down at the 21-yard line. Number 95, Ed Reynolds, with another good hit on special teams.
Dante Scarnecchia, the special teams coach for these New England Patriots, really has them primed for the day.
And we've got a penalty flag down back at the line of scrimmage for the Patriots, and apparently they were offside.
Offside. Number 52 on the kicking team. Re-kick.
Johnny Rembert, who had that fumble recovery for a touchdown last week against the Jets, a bit too eager.
Well, maybe remembering that he went down on the kickoff, picked up a ball that had been knocked around, and scooped it and carried it in for a touchdown. You don't get many chances like that. Maybe he was visualizing another one of those.
Sometimes this situation backfires on the kicking team. They've already made a good stop at the 20-21. Now they got to go back and make the long run once again. Sammy Seal and Fulton Walker will move up about to the 10-yard line as Franklin gets ready to kick again.
It's interesting, Dick. These two teams have two of the best overall defensive and special teams packages in the league. And you got to believe that Steve Ortmeyer thinks that he's going to get a big play out of Walker. He wants another shot at it.
Franklin, who did his kicking at Texas A&M, resetting that ball on the tee and give it a little more angle.
Real short on
Very short. He almost missed it. All the way up to the 18-yard line. Sammy Seal. And a flag down as Seal is tackled at the 35-yard line.
Rod Martin, number 53, coming down, just kind of hipped. Is it Ed Williams or Ed Reynolds?
Ed Reynolds is 95.
95. It's Ed Reynolds. I got him mixed up earlier. Just kind of hipped him out of the way.
On the run back. First down.
Boy, you do have an eye for those guys that get the penalty call, though. You're absolutely right, Rod Martin, and that'll take it back to the 15. So actually, the Raiders come out of that 6 yards short of the initial kickoff.
Well, of course, without the penalty, they'd have had the big play. Here's the last of that play. Now, Rod Martin really tried to make it look like this contact is incidental. Look at him. He just drops his shoulder, and it's a kind of a ho-hum thing, and then backs off. And the official, looking at it from the front side, did not call it. The call was way from the backside by another official.
Marcus Allen starting 18 yards shy of 100, and he picks up 5 on his first attempt in the second half. The Patriots allowed only 2 men to rush for 100 yards this year. Kevin Mack of the Browns, certainly a top rookie player in the league, rushed for 115 yards, and Kurt Warner of the Seattle Seahawks 105 yards. In their earlier game, Allen 98 yards, 2 yards shy of that century mark. Working on 10 in a row is Marcus Allen. Oops, early movement on the Raider line. McGrew, former teammate of Marcus Allen at Southern California, makes the hit, but it appeared Bruce Davis on the left side of the Raider line had jumped offside.
Talking to Larry McGrew, that he said that this was the first time that he and Mosi Tutupu had ever come back to play on this turf since they had left college. And I thought that was kind of interesting. With all the years in the NFL between the two of them, never played a game here.
2 times a Rose Bowl starter with McGrew.
Number 46.
Oh, it was not Bruce Davis, but it was the tight end Christensen who jumped offside. There's the look at the top runners, both 1,000-yard men, and Craig James, 53 yards to 88 for Marcus Allen. James with a touchdown. 5-yard penalty makes it 2nd and 10. Right back to Allen. Rolling James. Oh, look at Allen just carry the pile for a first down. 10 more yards for Marcus Allen, and that will give him 98 yards for the day.
Marcus Allen, what can you say about this young man except that he just has incredible ability and a great sense for what is important. Now, he'll go down if he figures he's got it already, but when he needs that first down, he goes for it. Look at the wristband on the wrist of Mark Wilson, the quarterback. All the plays listed there. When the signals come in from the sideline, he'll read the play off that man.
The throw to the outside and hit immediately was Dokie Williams. Coming up from the corner, Ronnie Lepet. 2 yards on the play.
You wonder who's calling the defenses for this New England team? Rod Rust. What an incredible year he has had. He has put this team together, and he was, I think, a real blessing for Raymond Berry that he was in place and had this defense cranking. Raymond Berry, one of his first acts was to say, hey, I want him to stay as long as he wants to stay.
Actually 7 yards on that first down play. And now Marcus Allen with the first down out to the 37-yard line. Andre Tippett made the tackle.
Impact players. We gave Tippett a little less of a grade than we gave Long, but you got to give him a good grade here as he battles with Todd Christensen. Finally throws him aside and makes the tackle. I think the thing that amazes me about Tippett is that at 240 pounds, he doesn't care who you are. He'll take you on, and he attacks those offensive players.
Allen now over the 100-yard mark, 103 yards today. Inside to Hawkins to the 50, and he's all the way to the New England 41. Frank Hawkins.
Just a little bit of that wishbone philosophy there. Get him thinking about that outside play and then hit him up the gut. Marcus Allen, they fake the toss to him going to the outside. Watch it. A little fake here, and they hand it back to Hawkins. Hawkins gets away from from Williams on the inside, 72, and then cutting against the grain. That's a trademark of Marcus Allen. He said, I can do it too.
23 yards. That's 2 yards longer than his longest run all year. Allen having trouble with the handoff, but the presence to be able to pull it back to his chest, and a flag is down.
I've seen him do that a couple of times on this drive, and I wonder what's happening. Maybe Wilson is not getting that ball into the perfect position for Marcus to handle it on the handoff.
Appears to be against Los Angeles.
Holding number 79, the offense.
Bruce
First
Davis,
down.
who was voted by his teammates as the top offensive lineman for the Raiders this year.
Here's the handoff, and let's see if we can tell what happened to Marcus on this play. Watch him just kind of bobble that ball. Look at it popping loose. His total concentration, never dropped his eyes from what he was doing. That's great confidence. Just worked at handling that football with his senses and with his feel.
First down and 20 from the 50-yard line, and Wilson uses a timeout. A valuable timeout spent as Wilson did not like what he was seeing. We'll be right back. Being brought to you by Mazda. Cars and trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. By McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. And by Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else? 10 minutes and 55 seconds remaining. A huge crowd at the Coliseum in Los Angeles that will number around 85 to 90,000. The Raiders leading 20-17, and it's Los Angeles with a first down and 20 at midfield. Hester in motion. Wilson back to the line of scrimmage. Flushed out of the pocket. Don Blackman secured the stop. No gain. And in fact, if it's behind the line of scrimmage, that would be a sack. It's going to be very close. They are ruling that a gain of a foot or so, so no sack on the play.
As long as you move the chains, they're going to give it to you.
But the Patriots were ready this time. Larry McGrew did not go for Allen's sweeping ride, stayed at home and made the stop after a 3-yard pickup. Roland James there as well.
Good reaction. The Patriot defense had to be expecting a pass play. Dick, one of the differences in the defensive philosophy of these two teams, the Patriots try and keep everything in front of them. They try and make you work that ball down the field. And they give you some room in front of those linebackers, in front of that secondary. Their thought is that you're going to make the mistake before you can put it in the end zone.
Third wide receiver, Tim Moffitt. He's wide. Oh, Wilson calls time again. And listen to these fans.
I wonder if he's looking down at that. Yes, he was. He was looking at the second clock and realizing that he was going to get called for a 5-yard penalty. He called the timeout, which is what he's instructed to do, but there's great frustration for him. And again, perhaps this is an illustration of the fact that their signaling system is not working as well as it should be working.
Verlin, I question the strategy here, and why is it that some coaches don't say, hey, listen, a 5-yard penalty sometimes is okay. We'll take a 5-yard loss now rather than spending what could be a most valuable timeout later. Now, those 2 timeouts, rather than 2 10-yard penalties, when we look back at it, maybe it won't matter. But I've got to think that somewhere along the line, someone's going to say, hey, go ahead and take the 5 yards.
Well, I think it's a reaction thing for the quarterback. I think they've told him initially at some point, if you're going to run out of time, take the timeout.
Here's Wilson. Of course, he's looking at that clock and could not get the play away. Perhaps was caught up in an audible and didn't like the pinch he was in, but so it goes.
Well, he's upset. And again, let's reiterate that the Raiders, a team that let Plunkett call the plays on the field and so he had more time to operate, have gone to a signaling system with Mark Wilson where they're sending the plays in from the sideline and giving them to Wilson. That takes more time, and it has put this offense at times at a disadvantage.
By the way, Plunkett is not available while the Patriots activated Grogan.
He can't play in that jacket?
No, he can't play in that. But some folks may think, since we've seen him a couple of times, that he has been activated. He has not. The backup quarterback is Rusty Hilger, the rookie from Oklahoma State.
He is available to be activated.
Third down 17 for Wilson. And down he goes. Don Blackman with a sack. Boy, that was a rough series for Wilson. 2 timeouts and a very rude sack.
And you'll hear the chorus of boos from the Coliseum audience. There's the shot. Garen Vera, 60, coming from the left side, but there was no way that he could get away. That's a jailbreak. Blackman, whoa, what great quickness from number 55, Blackman, who's had an outstanding year at that right linebacking position.
Ray Guy punting for the first time today. His average was just under 41 yards on the year. And Irving Fryer back inside the Patriot 15. He led the league with over 14 yards per punt return. He won't return this one, apparently, as it is short and a fair catch on the wing by Marion at the 25-yard line. So the Patriots had the ball at their 25, trailing by 3. You said the rip move. You kind of brush them aside. What is the actual rip part of it?
What you'll see the Raiders do very often is either head slap. Well, do it this way: with a head slap here and the rip move underneath.
This is the move where you drive them up underneath.
Well, they rip it with the arm, and they bring the arm up underneath and lift the man up. Or you can push with this hand and then rip underneath. You'll see them doing both. The Patriots have complained that they get a lot of holding calls because those arms are ripped underneath and left under the arm.
Eason looking for help. None to be found. He's down for a sack. Reggie McKenzie. He had plenty of time, but the coverage downfield by the Raiders secondary, tough, and had to eat it.
3-yard loss in the play. Second down and 13.
The Patriots have been outscored in the third period and in the first period, but have been very productive in the second and fourth. They did lead 7-3 after the first quarter today. There's that handoff to Collins. Nothing there. A gain of a yard. Flag down. Paquel made the stop.
On the stop.
Dick Weiler's sorting that out. Well, we'll let Jerry Markwright make his call.
There's also the Raiders you hear in the background.
Formation foul on number 67, offense.
That means that he's too far back away from the ball. Those offensive linemen must be up on that ball. And Steve Moore, lined up too far from that ball, was penalized on that last play.
He's big enough to line up anywhere within a 5-year span, and he's around the ball.
Well, they call him the condo or the house. Hog Hanna said, we want to rename him Mobile Home. We don't want anything stationary out there with us.
You saw Mark Wilson Wilson walking on the sidelines. We received word that he was stepped on, a foot stepped on in the last sequence, but he obviously is okay. They declined the penalty. Only 1 yard gain on the play, so it is 3rd and 11. Eason has yet to complete a pass to a wide receiver. Over the middle to James. Bubbles, and the Raiders have it. James had picked up the yardage necessary for a first down, but then loses the ball, and Van McElroy recovers at the Patriot 39.
Oh, how those turnovers do change the momentum and the emotion of a game. Looking from the opposite side of the field, Eason does everything right on this play. Nobody to go to, takes a little extra time, and then a little flip pass here. But Craig James tried to put it away and run upfield before he had the ball secured, and that cost him the fumble.
I'm not sure he ever had control, but that might have been an incomplete pass. Marcus Allen, he fumbles, and New England has it at the 32. Fred Marion, number 31, falling on the pumpkin as Marcus Allen had it stripped away. The Raiders are arguing that Allen was down.
Real turnaround, and the turnovers you see listed there, 4 by the Raiders today, and how interesting it is that they continue to be a team that somehow manages to survive the negative numbers on the turnover.
So back-to-back fumbles, and the Patriots have it again at their own 32, midway through the 3rd quarter. The winner gets Miami in the AFC Championship next Sunday. Robert Weathers, who played his college ball at Arizona State, has 3 yards.
Let's go in and look at that last fumble by Marcus Allen again from the opposite side of the field to get a better view of it. That's Lester Williams from the backside, number 72, and he just reached around and stripped that arm back. Marcus, I don't think, knew he was there. That ball popping loose on that play.
Well, that has been one of the major shifts in defensive play in just even the last 5 years. You don't just tackle a man, you're always thinking strip the ball as well. Morgan in motion. Craig James drawing a crowd, and Howie Long and Bill Pickel there to make the stop.
That was one of the priorities of Raymond Berry. He didn't like the turnover numbers that his team was showing. Not only weren't they taking the ball away often enough, but they were giving it up too often. He's had his offense practicing and stripping the ball, or his defense every day, and the offense practicing containing the ball, recovering fumbles, hanging on to that football. He has everybody run with the football in practice every day.
Yeah, he likes to use the silly putty and squeeze to improve your grip strength as well. 3rd and 6. Eason to James, and he has a first down at the 47-yard line. So again, Eason going underneath to his running back. Rod Martin made the tackle.
They're working hard on the outside to control the speed receivers. Lester Hayes, 37, locked up shoulder to shoulder with Stanley Morgan. It's no wonder Eason is not going to go out there to him. Had to go underneath to the outlet receiver, James, who picked up the first down.
Little misdirection. Weathers to the 49-yard line. Matt Millen trying to steal it away, but the play was whistled dead. And 76, Brian Holloway, and Millen, little extra.
You got a feeling in the pregame show, listening to Matt Millen, with the intensity that he brings to the game. Nicknamed Spike or Bubba, he's kind of the fire-plugged center. They got 2 stand-up tackles in there, linebacker, and they're good ones. There he is. He's stripping that football away.
Carrying it like a linebacker, too. The old loaf of bread approach. Yeah, the crusty linebacker, Matt Millen. 2nd and 8. Weathers wrapped up at the 48-yard line. Reggie Reggie McKenzie. Young man, he's 6'1" and 240. What a rookie season, moving in one of those critical inside linebacker positions in the Raider defense.
But look at the size of the thighs and hips on Reggie. He is just built with such power. Look at that. Look at the bulk that he carries down low. And that inside linebacking position, he's able to use that strength very effectively.
3rd and 4. Again, Eason, no completions to a wide receiver. Is this the time? Yes, Stanley Morgan fumbles, and Irving Fryer recovers for New England. Well, how do you do? They don't complete a pass to a wide receiver till 4.5 minutes into the 3rd quarter, and then both men get their hands on a successful play.
What an alert save by Irving Fryer. But here's Morgan getting to the outside and giving Lester a little boost with his hand. He gets back inside. Watch the fumble there. Lester says, hey, I can get it too. But what quick reactions from Irving Fryer.
From Morgan to Fryer, the 2 wide receivers very much involved in this one. Fryer doing an excellent job of scraping that one into his body. First down at the Raider 26. James to the 19. Oh, he must have terrific vision, James, away. And Marcus Allen the same. I guess that's true of all the terrific runners.
The eyes, they play such a key role in this game of football.
Oh, he was telling that to you a couple of days ago, wasn't he? Ball at the 19-yard line. 2nd down and 3. James again. And he's looking at the goal line. Finally dragged down at the 8-yard line. 11 more yards for James, and it's 1st and goal, New England.
Excellent sustained drive by the Patriots as they move the ball down the field. You see James with a little hesitation there, but once he turns it up, once he turns those shoulders square to the line, boy, he drives with real power.
71 yards for James, looking at a possible century mark himself. Has a touchdown, 1st and goal. Weathers. Oh, was he stopped cold by Piquel? Bill Piquel. That's interesting that defensive line of the Raiders, all migrating from Eastern schools, Long from Villanova. Piquel played at Rutgers. Sean Jones at Northeastern and Boston.
You just don't somehow imagine this kind of dominant defensive player, the kind that they picked up coming from those schools. And it's interesting. I think in part it's because they came here and matured and began to use even more of their talents within the Raider organization.
2nd and goal from the 7. Eason dumps it out to Weathers. Flag down, and Weathers has dropped at the line of scrimmage.
Steve Moore using his hands on Reggie McKenzie, trying to get a little extra hold on him, and that's going to negate a pretty good play that was going to get things back to the line of scrimmage.
Raiders had defensed that so well. Reggie McKenzie out there to cut it off, and realizing his team in trouble, Steve Moore guilty of the foul.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 67, offense, 2nd down.
You know, Steve Moore has done a super job for the Patriots. Darrell Haley, a highly regarded young tackle, out for the year with colitis, and Moore has stepped in aptly.
Just trying to do a little bit too much on that play. There you saw him pushing in the back on Reggie McKenzie, and you see the flag. He almost dropped that right on the spot, didn't they?
Although behind the line of scrimmage, it was outside that tight end range, so that is an illegal block. Within the tight ends, that would have been okay. The reverse to Fryer. He's got a blocker. But look at the Raiders come to the ball. And Mike Davis was there to secure the tackle along with Stacy Turan, who made the initial hit.
Irving Fryer scored on a play just like this earlier in the year against the Seattle Seahawks, but the Raiders are not fooled anticipating this, and I'm sure that extra week of preparation helped them to get ready for exactly that kind of play. Fryer making a good jump over the top, but Stacy Turan didn't give him any room to move when he came down.
Boy, that play started, they had 3 blockers to 2 black shirts, but it didn't work out well for New England. 3rd and goal, 14-yard line. Eason. Fryer, incomplete. Sammy Seal, a former wide receiver, in as an extra defensive back, and here comes Tony Franklin in to try to tie it with a field goal.
Here's an isolation shot of Irving Fryer breaking deep. Sammy Seal protecting on that play. And look at Fryer go up and control that football, but couldn't get a hold of it before he stepped out of that end line.
Well, what an athlete, though. We're seeing some tremendous talent. This will be a 37 or 36-yard attempt by Franklin to tie. Plenty of leg, and it's even again as Franklin drills it from 36 yards. Timeout, 1 minute, 11 seconds remaining in a third quarter tie. Al Davis and Dick Steinberg and the 2 teams here will be represented at that Hula Bowl, looking for talent for next year. Kick to Sammy Seal at the 5. Boy, no place to hide. Bubbles again, and New England may have a touchdown. They do. It appeared to be Cedric Jones in the middle of that pile. As Sammy Seal, the 3rd fumble on special teams by the Raiders today, and this one the costliest of them all. And New England leads 26-20.
The pressure of the big game has forced some very unusual errors today. Sammy Seal just lets that ball go right through his arms, and then in his haste to pick it up, does not tuck it away. Just a little brush right there, but Mosi Tutupu knocking that ball out of his hands. Cedric Jones there. Who else was there? Hard to tell. A stack of Patriots on top of that football in the end zone.
It wasn't Jones, but we'll get confirmation as to who will be credited with a touchdown. Franklin has the extra point. And in just a matter of seconds, the Patriots score 10 points to take the lead. Cadillac, Michigan. Jim Bowman, and he just made a top-of-the-line play, recovering the ball in the end zone for the touchdown, and he's one of the lead men down under kickoffs. That one goes in the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Raiders start at the 20-yard line. This is early in the game. The first scoring play was, well, no, this is Seal having trouble with the ball. He'll fumble it a second time when Mosi Tutupu comes in to strip it away, number 30.
There's the shot, and there's the stripping action right on that football. Bowman is right there, crawling and diving on that football. Earlier in the game, similar play. Fulton Walker heading upfield is hit right here, and as he's trying to get his balance, again, the ball stripped away. Ed Reynolds on that play, the man knocking it out of there.
And Bowman recovered that one as well. That led to a field goal. Todd Christensen fumbles, but it goes out of bounds. Raiders maintain possession at the 34, a 14-yard gain. Number 2 draft pick out of Central Michigan, Jim Bowman. It wasn't easy to get there. That's his first National Football League touchdown. Tough to stop those fighting Chippewas. 44 seconds left in the third quarter. Marcus Allen making things happen. Boy, it appears there's just nowhere to go, and he always finds a little crack, and he He's out to the 44-yard line, close to another 10 yards. He has 119 yards today.
You've got to believe that one of the things that these New England Patriots are thinking about is containment. You simply can't afford to let Marcus get out of there. That means not only on the side that the ball is going to, but on the backside as well. He's dangerous, and he was looking to come back on that last play.
Raiders are not anxious to get another play off. They'll just let the clock run out here in the third quarter. 5 seconds showing. At the end of 3, it's the New England Patriots, the underdogs, 27-20. Back after these words from your local Davis. Part of the hierarchy since 1963, and during that period of time, the Raiders the winningest team in pro football. Los Angeles starts the fourth quarter at its own 44. And they start with Marcus Allen getting drilled, no gain. Garen Darris, the rookie from Stanford, number 60.
Dick, just to follow up on Al Davis as you saw him upstairs, one of the things you heard as a constant theme through the pregame from the players was that it's expectations, what is expected, and that starts at the top. And I'll tell you, it was interesting to me that when Mike Haynes came here, they won a big game, and he went in the locker room expecting everybody to celebrate, and he said it was totally quiet in there. They said, we'll celebrate after the Super Bowl.
Wilson on 2nd and 9. Complete to Dokie Williams, first down at the Patriot 42.
The other big advantage to having a football man at the helm is the fact that he forces everyone in the organization to think football. He happens to be the best judge of talent in the organization, and also as a former coach knows what's going on the field, knows what should be done down there, and the players respect that extra pair of eyes.
There's a toughness about him that they respect as well. Kenny King has replaced Marcus Allen for a play, and he gets the call, little yardage. That'll bring up 2nd and 9. I think that Frank Hawkins who carried as they do a little equipment repair on Marcus Allen, who has 121 yards in this game.
Looks like Marcus has broken the shoelace that holds those pads together in there. They were quickly tying it up again for him. He says he sustained himself pretty well through the season. It's not nearly as tired as he was in that second season. He felt like it lasted forever.
On 2nd and 9, Wilson. Incomplete to Todd Christensen, and Ronnie Lepet was very close to picking off his 3rd of this game.
I think the reason that Christensen dropped that football is that he saw Lepet flash by going the other way, and his hands were so close to the football it was hard to see. Let's see if this angle will give us a look at it. To the outside, left side of your screen, there's Lepet going by, and I think that took Todd's eyes off of that football momentarily.
3rd wide receiver goes in for the Raiders. Tim Moffitt, a rookie from Mississippi. 3rd and 9. Marcus Allen is back in. Trailing 27-20 early in the fourth quarter. Wilson needs a big one. He's in trouble. Incomplete as Marcus Allen was well covered by Johnny Rembert.
Marcus saying he was interfered with on that play. There was some confusion. It looked like Mark Wilson expected Dokie Williams to come in motion on that play. Lifted his heel and looked to the outside. No one came. The Raiders, of course, keep Marcus in the game, as they do Todd Christensen, because these are 2 of the finest possession receivers in all of football. There's Marcus going back to talk to the official.
Allen has only 1 catch today. That was for just 4 yards. Ray Guy to punt. His 2nd of the day. Kicked him on earlier for 33 yards. This one will be a good kick. They're going to mark it inside the 10 at the 6-yard line.
Ray Guy may have had his finest day of kicking back in New England against these Patriots, and there's a good case for this man having his best year ever this year.
Starting deep in its own end, the Patriots get about 4 yards out of Craig James. Bill Piquel and company in the tackle. It's 27-20, New England. The Patriots got a fumble from Marcus Allen deep in New England territory, drove for a field goal to tie the game, and the ensuing kickoff, a fumble by Sammy Seal, wound up in the end zone, recovered by New England's Jim Bowman to give them the lead. James again, stopped at the 13-yard line. James with just under 80 yards on the afternoon. Pickell and Millen in on the tackle. Mark Wilson, knowing that there's no room for more mistakes as we're now in the final period. 12 minutes remain. Boy, that gaunt look of pressure on the face of Wilson. Third and 2. Going to be very close to a first down. James' third straight carry.
I think they shut him down, Dick. It's all in where they mark this play, but it looks like it's going to be marked between the yard marks, and well, that's going to be awfully close. We'll let them measure it.
There you see the yardsticks.
There's the surge down in the trenches. Boy, you better believe it. Number 54, Reggie McKenzie. 55, Matt Millen. 71, Pickell. All sticking those hats in there tight. And this is going to be a very close measurement.
They made it.
And after that emotional response from this crowd and a very emotional response from the defense, there's some deflation in that kind of a measurement and that kind of success for the offense.
In terms of noise at the Coliseum, and Merlin as a player has already told you that this is not the noisiest of stadia until you get down at the other end of the stadium, the closed end, then the fans can really impact the play. James back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Right around his legs, Matt Millen and Brad Van Pelt.
Penetration on that play, too, from Howie Long, 75. Just scrambling in there and breaking up the timing on the play. Well, you look over at the Raiders side of the field.
Rusty Hilger, number 12. Meanwhile, the defense focusing on Craig James. He's carried 4 straight times. Tony Collins tripped up after a gain of 2. Jeff Barnes, number 56 from the University of California, made the hit.
Barnes usually plays in those long yardage situations and responsible for being a part of a number of the special pass defenses that the Raiders employ. The Raiders, one of the teams that really pioneered substitution situation. They use a lot of folks out there on the field.
3rd and 8. Collins short of the first down. Rod Martin and Reggie McKenzie, and the punting team is on for New England, and the fans cheer the Raider defense.
Remember that this Raider punt return unit blocked the kick, blocked the punt earlier for a touchdown, and almost blocked the second one of Camarillo's punts. No matter what happens here, they're going to have good field position as long as they hang on to the football. We better add that.
Bolton Walker has fumbled twice. He's back at the Raider 35. 10 men on the line of scrimmage.
Good kick.
Walker back to his 28, 35, and wrapped up at the 36-yard line. Mosi Tutupo makes still another tackle. He's had an outstanding day on special teams. We have a timeout. The 19th for the figure skaters, the greatest in the world. Rich Camarillo, a 50-yard punt. He was a big Rams fan. He grew up here in Southern California. He said, "Who was your idol?" Merlin Olsen. He said, "What position did he play?" No, he liked Jack Snow, your former teammate, number 84, who had some big games on this Coliseum turf. Wilson in the flat to Allen. He must have eyes in the back of his head. He's to the 34-yard line. A loss of 2, but it could have been worse than that.
The thing that is so dangerous when he touches the ball and you see him dipping and diving and turning and twisting, and if he can't see an opening, he is fast enough to take it.
You were talking about how the Patriots have designed their defense to keep a man always on the opposite side. There was only one man left there. He could have reversed his field, but somebody stayed at home, or he might have broken that for a long one.
Containment, such an important thing. We'll try and get a shot of that.
Hawkins from a wing in motion. Fake to Allen. Throw to Christensen. And it's complete down to the 42-yard line. Doki Williams to Christensen. It looked like it was being batted around like a ping pong.
One of the things that happens with this Raider offense, Todd Christensen sometimes will get out of his ordinary pattern and get into an area where he shouldn't be. I think that's what happens here. He thinks this ball is to him. He jumps for it and taps it. It hits off Doki's chest. It comes right to Todd. Unbelievable. Picks it up on the goal. I don't think that's a play, but it sure worked.
Look at that. Right off his hands to Christensen, who knew where it was going to go all along. To the 42-yard line with 7.5 minutes left. The Raiders trail by a touchdown. It's intercepted. Fred Marion on his way to the 44-yard line off the hands of Christensen, who couldn't make the miracle reception on that one.
Off the hands of Marcus, I believe, in that case, Dick, but the same kind of thing, and Mark Wilson is going to be credited with an interception there. That's the kind that shouldn't go in his column. Nevertheless, it's a great play for Marion. And Marion, a man that I feel should have been in the Pro Bowl, I'm not the only one who feels that, made so many big plays on the year. That ball touched by Marcus, knocked back, but every very quick ball reactions by Marion to grab that football.
I've got to put that one in Wilson's column, though. That was not a very good throw.
Was thrown behind Marcus.
That's a third interception, and the Patriots leading 27-20. Good field position. Robert Weathers has about 5 to midfield. Marion, going back to his interception, he led the Patriots during the regular year and with 7 interceptions and 189 yards in interception returns to lead the NFL, but did not make the Pro Bowl.
Let's go back and look at that interception one more time. Ball thrown right there. Marcus trying to get his hands out there to get a piece of it. All he did was hang it up just a moment for Fred Marion, number 31.
27-20, New England trying to pull the upset. All the favorites have won this round of the playoffs. And in fact, the previous as well. Cleveland Browns close to an upset at Miami yesterday, but the Dolphins rallied from 21-3 down to win. And now time running out on the Raiders, who can ill afford to get New England down close enough for a field goal that would give them a 10-point advantage.
Saying a big hello to his mom and dad. Boy, he earned a chance to do that with his play during this season, and that big play puts his team down in Raider territory.
Third and short. Weathers has the first down at the 44. McKenzie with another tackle for Los Angeles. Paquel an assist.
Flashback, if you will, to yesterday and the great comeback by the Miami Dolphins. This Raider team, a similar kind of football team. How many times have we seen them come back in the fourth quarter?
They trail by 7 at the moment with 5.5 minutes left. But a 10-point lead with time running out, and the fact that the Raiders have spent 2 timeouts, they have only 1 remaining, could make it most difficult for them. Weathers, maybe a yard. Stacey Turan with the tackle.
Excellent anticipation by the Raider defense. They had 53, Rod Martin, coming wide open on that play. Bob Seaman over there making the calls. Good job there.
You see the official timeouts remaining, only 1 for the Raiders. Mark Wilson in the same series had to spend 2 when he either didn't like the setup for the play call or was running out of time on the 30-second clock. Weathers and James behind Eason, 2nd and 9. Weathers, suddenly busy man, and Paquel makes the play. Bill Paquel from Rutgers. Dad is a New York area policeman, went to high school in Brooklyn. He himself a criminology major. He solved that one readily.
You've got to like Big Bill Paquel. The great transition he made. That's a tough position to learn to play, and especially for a man who's as tall as Paquel. Paquel at about 6'5" gives away some leverage. Has really done a good job on the nose.
Patriots staying on the ground, but now they face third and a dozen. Eason from the shotgun hands it off to James with running room. And that play works again. That's the same call they used for a touchdown in the first half. And James gets 14 on 3rd and 12. First down, New England. And they are now in Franklin's range.
New England continues to run effectively out of that spread or shotgun formation from the right side of your screen there. That's almost a draw play. And with everyone coming aggressively on the pass rush, James able to spot some openings there and get himself upfield.
James now just a handful of yards away from 100. He has 97. Motion to Tupu. Nothing there. Jeff Barnes with a hit. Turan with a piece of it. Clock running. 3:04, 3:03. And we are now at 3 minutes remaining. So another first down would be a killer for the Los Angeles Raiders, because there's only the 2-minute timeout and one other left for the Raiders.
Looking across, you just almost sense the energy. What an upset this would be for these New England Patriots.
Yeah, they were 9 out of their last 11, and their 2 losses were only by field goals. Tony Collins on the carry, and a flag is down. That'll stop the clock and will aid the Raiders in that regard.
And if that's a holding penalty, that might take Franklin out of field goal range, Dick.
There's Franklin, who has kicked from 44 and 32 yards, 2 for 2 today. Had 4 last week against the Jets to tie an NFL playoff record.
Holding number 30, offense, 2nd down.
Tupu guilty of the hold. That takes it out to the 42, which is out of Franklin. Well, Franklin, we shouldn't say out of his range. He has kicked one from 59 yards in his pro career. That was back with the Eagles.
Dick, I asked Raymond Berry why he doesn't use 4 receivers. He has 4 with such great speed, and he said, well, we haven't had a chance to put all the offense in. We need that extra tight end for the pickup scheme. We're more concerned about doing what we have well rather than adding the extra offense.
To James, and that play that has been really bread and butter for the Patriots gets about 6.
Tough decision here. This would be an extremely long field goal.
Now 2:16 left. The Raiders are not going to use their timeout, so New England will let the clock run all the way to the 2-minute warning. Boy, those 2 timeouts used have become a critical part of the closing minutes of this game. 2 minutes left. Title game. That'll, of course, the NFC, the Bears will host the Rams, and then we'll be either here in Los Angeles, but more and more with 2 minutes left, it looks as if we might be at the Orange Bowl in Miami, because if New England wins, they go against the Dolphins, a team that has really been a terror against them in Miami. But the Raiders are in a situation now, 3rd down and 16, to try to stop New England on this play and hope that Franklin cannot make a field goal. Charlie Hanna, number 73 of the Raiders. His brother John on the field for the New England Patriots, who lead 27-20. Turnovers have been the key. And the biggest of all, a fumble by Sammy Seal on a kickoff return that led to a touchdown. Jim Bowman falling on it in the end zone for the difference in this game at the moment. Tupu is stopped at the 37, and there the Raiders spend their final timeout with 1:54 left. It'll be a long field goal try by Franklin. No timeouts left. You're down by a touchdown. You're going to call on all possible resources. Lester Hayes. Terrific camera work. Ted Nathanson and his camera crew. Larry Cirillo, our producer.
Right now, the Patriots interested in putting as much green between Mark Wilson and the Raider offense as they possibly can. They're trusting this game to their defense at this point.
They have a 54-yard field goal that they're not going to kick. Franklin is not on the field. Camarillo to punt it away. Ooh, close to being blocked, and no penalty flag down. It goes in the end zone, and the Raiders will start at the 20. Townsend, who blocked one earlier that led to a score for the Raiders, almost got that one. So no timeouts, 1:44 left. It's in the hands of Mark Wilson.
They only pick up 16 yards on that punt. 80 yards from their 20 to the opposite end zone. One of the better defenses in all of football, and believe me, they're going to be playing deep. The closer to the line you are, the more aggressive you play, but back behind the line, they'll be playing conservatively.
Incomplete to Marcus Allen. Ronnie Lepet was on him. Or they kind of hid Lepet that time up inside. He was almost playing in a linebacker position.
This is the kind of situation that really works to the advantage of Rod Russ's defense. Their philosophy all during the ball game is force the team you're playing to get that ball down the field a little piece at a time. And that's their thinking now. Eat up that minute 38 seconds. Boy, you feel the intensity from Grogan and crew on the sideline, don't you?
Incomplete again, this time intended for Hawkins, and Johnny Rembert made the play. Andre Tippett, the pressure man.
Got to wonder at that pass anyway. Hawkins gets that football. He has a hard time getting out of bounds. Once you get him down, that clock will eat it up. 2 incomplete passes right off the bat. Mark Wilson dumped as he got that football away, and well, I know somebody who wants to celebrate. He doesn't want to do it too early. And Billy Sullivan, he wants to run around and hug a few of those players and congratulate them. Better wait just a minute, Billy.
3rd and 10 with a minute and a half remaining. Allen with a catch, but it's not good enough for the first down, and the clock is running.
They'll quick go to the line. Mark Wilson will get him there, and either he's calling the audible. There's the play.
4th and 4. They've got to make 4 plus, or this one's over. They've got it to Allen. He's at the 40. He's at the 50, into the 49. The clock will run. 25 yards to Marcus Allen.
And there's a penalty down.
Oh, my. Way back at the 17-yard line. They're going to call this one back. 10 years ago in the playoffs, that most memorable call that cost New England a chance to go on, and the Raiders won.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, number 65, offense, 4th down.
Mickey Marvin, in trying to block his man, guilty of the penalty. The shoe was on the other foot 10 years ago at the Oakland Coliseum when Kenny Stabler on 4th in a must situation, apparently incomplete. New England would win when a penalty went against Sugar Bear Hamilton that extended the drive, and the Raiders pulled it out and went on to win the championship. So it's 4th down. The penalty takes a 10-yard mark off. 4th and 17. 15-yard mark off. 4th and 17. Of one receiver into the arms of another, but Dokie Williams could not hang on, and the Patriots have 56 seconds to chew off the clock. No timeouts left for the Raiders. This game is over. The New England Patriots have pulled the one upset out of the the playoffs and will go to Miami next week if they can just execute 2 snaps from center.
Possession of the ball from the 13.
Suddenly it's very quiet here in the Coliseum.
Don Shula will be our guest on NFL 85. It'll be interesting to get Coach Shula's comments. He had to pull one out of the fire yesterday. You're watching him yesterday and reading his mind, Merlin. I know that you had some doubts, as he did, as to whether or not they were going to get the job done. There's a timeout here with 56 seconds remaining, and New England about to win.
And it touches right into the palms there of Dookie Williams, and Dookie just unable to handle that football. We saw that kind of play a few minutes ago with their success. The Raiders, of course, would like a miracle of some kind, but they're just going to drop to a knee and let the clock move. No timeouts. Dick, the last time New England won a playoff game, 1963 against the Buffalo Bills.
Till last week, and then now they've won 2 in a row. And they'll go to Miami, where they have lost 18 straight. Not since 1966. The Dolphins' first year in the NFL had the Patriots won in Miami. You can look at that statistic 2 different ways.
You sure can.
One, they're well overdue. The other is, and of course, they played a magnificent game against the Dolphins and lost by 3 late in this season. Craig James is our Michelob Most Valuable Player. The New England Patriot running back, the first this season to rush for over 100 yards against the Raider defense. Michelob donates $1,000 to the United Way on behalf of Craig James. This game is over. The New England Patriots have upset the Los Angeles Raiders 27-20.
Los Angeles Raiders 20.
A stunned crowd of 88,936 in the Coliseum in Los Angeles, and the Patriots won it on the ground and taking advantage of Raider mistakes.
And as has happened so often in Raider history, turnovers such a big part of that loss.
The Patriots go to Miami.
4 of them led either directly or indirectly to Patriots scores. New England with the win, 27-20. You will see New England play at Miami. It'll be the late game next Sunday, NFL 85 at 3:30 Eastern Time. The kickoff from the Orange Bowl at 4 Eastern Time. The early game in the conference championship round. The Bears hosting the Los Angeles Rams. The Bears won their way into that round by shutting the Giants out at Frigid Soldier Field today, 21-0. Our time is very short, but we will go down to Miami. Don Shula is standing by at his home. Don, we have to keep it brief, but obviously, although the Patriots will be no picnic, you're gratified to be playing at home.
Much rather be playing at home. I know how tough it is to beat the Raiders out there, or to try to beat them, and this is why you have to give New England and Raymond Berry credit for a great job all year long, and in particular today.
Now, after a 2-3 start, the Patriots have won 11 of their last 13, and their only losses by a field goal in the rain a few weeks ago against your team, and an overtime defeat by a field goal against the Jets at the Meadowlands. So they're playing supremely well right now.
Excellent defense, and offensively they control the ball. They have an excellent running game, and Eason in these last 2 ball games is playing pretty much error-free ball. He's not making big mistakes. In our game, he threw a couple of interceptions that really hurt him, but now it looks like he's got that where he's making the big plays when he has to.
You've beaten the Patriots 18 straight times at the Orange Bowl. Is that a factor psychologically?
Well, that's something that we can't concern ourselves with. We had trouble with the Browns last week. We were behind 21-3 in the ball game, and had to come from behind in the 4th quarter to win the ball game. So the last time that New England was down here, the game came right down to the wire, and we won at the end of that game. When teams are this far along, when you're playing for the AFC Championship, anything can happen, and we have a lot of respect for them.
What about the health of your team coming out of yesterday's game against the Browns?
As far as I know, we should be in good shape. We've got a lot of people that are banged up that might miss some practice time, but everybody should be ready for the ball game.
Quick answer here, Don, on our final question. Just how concerned were you when the score was 21-3 Browns? What kind of thoughts were going through your mind?
Well, there were a lot of thoughts going through my mind. I felt that we had to shut them out in the second half, and then they scored on that long run. But the key was the drive that we put together. And once we scored that first touchdown, I think everybody got the confidence that we could win the ball game.
Don, thanks very much. And a day late, a happy 56th birthday.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, let's go back out to the Coliseum in Los Angeles for some final thoughts from Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen.
Bob,
England celebrated a chance to go to Miami. This was the scene right after the final gun. Matt Millen and a couple of New England Patriots going at it as the Raiders go out fighting.
I think someone had said something to Millen, and he and Howie Long were just attacking in there, and everybody trying to calm things down. But these Raiders, they don't ever quit fighting, Dick.
Wild-eyed and teary-eyed disbelief. The Raiders have been eliminated, and everyone was here in this part of the country. We're looking at a Raiders-Chicago Bears Super Bowl. But Billy Sullivan, the owner of the New England Patriots, a man who has had his own hard times during the course of 1985, certainly has had a very happy 1986. Win against the Jets, win against the Raiders.